Hello there, this is Rapid Ralph Roberts again, and I'm doing another video of me driving home from Federal Express. That's why we call it Son of Driving Home. As I set Jill the GPS unit, and I'm in the Lieutenant Colonel, shock and awe on four-wheel drive, as I used to say on the TV show. And as we swing around, we see our other Sorento, Kia Sorento. That's my wife's pet's ride. And we're both at FedEx dropping off packages. And I'm on the way home. I found the sort of a sweet spot for mounting the FlipHD camera, and that's right on the driver's seat, right behind my right shoulder. And we're leaving, as we leave FedEx, we see downtown Asheville, the land of the sky, the Paris of the South, etc., etc. And this time I'm going to go on across the Smoky Mountain Park Bridge. As we come up on the access ramp to it, this will be, this is currently future I-26. It's future because this bridge doesn't meet interstate standards or safety standards of any kind, really. There's a lot of accidents on this bridge, and here I am having to go across all three lanes to get to where I want to go, north on 19 or future 26, has many names, but politics is holding that up. I'm like much of the traveling public, not too happy with the way the politicians in Asheville have done, but eventually we'll get rid of them maybe and get some people in there who will be a bit more reasonable. Anyway, beautiful day, beautiful place here. As we go on, we're going north from Asheville, and we're driving up to my home in Alexander. It's about 8-9 miles this way. Not too bad. Nice little drive. In fact, this entire video is 16 minutes and 57 seconds long. I know that because I'm sitting here watching it on the editor as I talk. The safe way of doing it. And you can also, on Jill's screen there, the GPS screen, see our progress as we move along, being watched by all the satellites way up there also. So I'm going down here just a bit more, and we'll be exiting the 4-lane and getting down on Highway 251 River Road to go on down to the Craggy Bridge, which is where I cross the French Broad River. So they call it River Road, of course, because it parallels the French Broad River. And of course, for those of you not familiar with the area, we're in the mountains of western North Carolina, the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Take exit 25 on right.
And it's quite a nice area to live in. You notice it's reasonably lush and green. That's because in this general area we have the second highest annual rainfall in the continental United States. Only the Olympia Peninsula in Washington State has more rain than we do. We also have more species of plants in this area than any place outside the tropics in the U.S. A lot of people don't know that. I'm a font of trivia like that because I love this area and I've read a lot about it and lived a lot in it. Okay, we're turning left onto 251 here. We came down the exit ramp, and I'm wisely waiting until a car passes before I go on. That little device down just to the right of the steering wheel is my satellite radio. Do a lot of driving. I need my satellite radio, my GPS, and the little round circle just above the satellite radio receivers where I have been mounting the camera, but I like this particular mount a lot better. It gives you the feeling of me driving, plus you get a pretty good view out in front. This FlipHD camera, of course, is very, very convenient because it's a tiny little thing, although it shoots in full high definition, or at least 1280 by 720, which is pretty good size. You get a lot of detail, as you can see, as we go on down here through the town of Woodfin, North Carolina. We're out of the city limits of Asheville and into the city limits of Woodfin. And coming up on the red light, which is actually green now, so the flashing light up there is, they've been putting in a new water line down through here, and they have an automated system. Instead of using flagmen, they have these portable red lights on both ends of the job, and during the day the red lights will stop you and traffic will come one way the other way, and then the red lights will turn green. The red light will turn green and you go just like a flagman, except they don't have to pay the flagman. They spend 4 times what they'd pay flagman for a year to get one of these devices, I guess. But that's okay. I like gadgets. That's cool. You go, DOT. Or actually, I think that's the Woodfin Water Department doing that. Woodfin has its own water department, has had for many decades. And you can't see it, but over just to the left is the French Broad River. Like many areas on this particular road, which goes all the way down to Marshall, it's on this little narrow shelf of land between the river and the higher elevations up to the right. This used to be the main drag going down to Marshall and so forth. Now there's hardly any traffic on it except those of us who live in the area. And a lot of cyclists from Asheville. This is a popular route for them. They tend to slow traffic up a lot, but thankfully none now. All those old railroad cars over to the left are owned by, I think, a railroad club of some sort here in Woodfin. They've had them there for several years. The facility on the right is the Department of Transportation's headquarters. And they used to have a prison camp back up on the hill above it, a prison. In fact, my dad was in it, but he was a guard. Back during the 1930s, actually, when they had chain gangs, he was a guard on the chain gang, and then later became the steward of the camp, which was sort of like first sergeant. And he always liked that. After the war, he tried to get back on again, but never did. Wound up doing farming. This junkyard to the left used to be the Farmers Federation back in the farm supply store back in the 1950s when I was growing up. That's where we got most of our feed for the cows and stuff. My dad sold them hay that they would sell to other farmers. This is the Craggy Bridge, is most often called, across the French Broad River. It's actually the General Albert Boyd Bridge, named for General Boyd, who grew up about a mile or so from here. General Boyd, during the late 40s, was called the fastest general in the Air Force. He was in charge of the test pilot program in the Air Force. And in fact, one of his the men under his command was Chuck Yeager, who broke the sound barrier in 1947, I believe. Yeager mentions General Boyd in his biography. He has a whole chapter on him, actually, because he was sort of a mentor to him. I met General Boyd as we go up the old Leicester Highway. I met General Boyd back in the 1950s. Of course, he's long since dead now. When he came back to visit his mother, who lived near us, and he was flying a little Piper plane that had to crash landed up on Lexington Avenue, which didn't do a whole lot for the plane, didn't hurt him. But I guess he had to buy the plane or something because the wreckage of it was sitting in his mother's yard. So we went down to see it, and one of my fondest memories is him picking me up and sitting in the cockpit of that plane. So that was my one meeting with General Albert Boyd. And we're coming up on the four-way intersection here. Shout out over on the right there to the Stone Market Restaurant. It's a gourmet restaurant located way out here. In fact, if you check out its ratings on the internet, you'll find it's very highly rated. We eat there every once in a while when we can afford it. Yeah, actually, it's not all that expensive, but it's really good food. So I recommend them. And I'm getting on here. I've driven this road many a time. This is about a mile and a half from where I live. See, we've been traveling now for 11 minutes and 21 seconds.
0.2 miles. Turn right on Old Leicester Road, then turn left.
Moving along. I love my Sorrento, the Lieutenant Colonel. We give all our vehicles military ranks. Pat's SUV, the gold one that you saw at FedEx, mine is white. That's the Major. That's his rank. And we also have a Sedona minivan that's made by Kia, and that's the Colonel. He's the one we've had the longest, so he's got the highest rank. Don't ask me why, we have fun. Up to the left was where West Buncombe Elementary School was all the time I was growing up, and my mother taught there. She taught school about 40 years, and the last 15 or so of them was at West Buncombe. Well, I guess the last 20 or so. She was there a pretty long time. Of course, that school building has been torn down long since, and there's a new West Buncombe over near Irwin High School. But I spent 8 years up there and learned a lot,
Turn right on Old Highway 20.
I think. Okay, I'm going to stop here at the West Buncombe BP. A shout out to them. That's my local convenience store, the closest convenience store to me. I've been in. I'm returning to the vehicle. That was a quick stop, wasn't it? Actually, I edited out just sitting there looking at the building. I didn't think that would be too exciting. Okay, we're going back out of here. You see Jill is coming back up. And I'm telling her to go ahead and show the map. Okay, so now we're ready to go. I really don't need her going home from FedEx. I've driven that route 100 times, well, more, hundreds of times, I guess. A lot. But it's just nice having her talk in the background when I do these videos. Adds a little something to it, I think. And we're now on Old Number 20 Road. Old Number 20 goes over almost and ends almost at the Madison County line. Actually, it dead ends close to the Madison County line. Used to go all the way into Bear Creek Road, but doesn't anymore. It's a fun drive, though. I go out it every once in a while because there's a shortcut. You can go over to Bear Creek Road and go on to Madison County. Okay, now we're turning right onto Jenkins Valley Road. Man, I rode my bicycle through here a lot when I was a kid. Of course, when I was riding bicycles back in the 50s or so, our parents made sure that if we heard a car coming, we got off the road and let them go by. None of the cyclists today do that. They just keep their butts up in your face and don't let you go by if they can get away with it. I'm sorry, I don't like cyclists that much anymore. I know everybody has a right to the road, and they do too, but you don't have to be so darn arrogant about it, in my opinion. Anyway, not that I'm not arrogant in my big SUV, but hey, that's the way it is. That's human nature. Okay, drizzling a little rain, had to clear the window. The church we're coming up on is Macedonia Baptist.
Turn right on Macedonia Road.
My dad gave the land for that church when the old one burned back in 48 or so. I think I was about 3 years old. I actually remember the old church burned on Christmas Eve as we come down to Alexander Books, which is my publishing company, and turn in. And that's something you don't forget. I was just beginning to learn what a church was all about when it burned. Anyway, thanks for riding along with me. Been a very good trip, and I've enjoyed it a lot. I hope you've got something out of riding along and listening to me natter on about my opinions and so forth. And we'll do it again sometime real soon, because I sure enjoy doing these.